We're excited to have another event in our series, Let's Stay Toxic.
Fuck you.
And we're meeting tonight for a workshop, and it's actually the 4th event of our series. And the topic of tonight is a zero waste topic, and we're looking at the question, can we discard the idea of waste? And it's going to be interactive, very much looking forward to this. So my name is Maike, I'm the founder of Ocean Now, and tonight you also have our team on board because we will be in interactive groups together for 1 hour. Our team tonight also in these breakout rooms will be, we will have 3 little groups most likely. Ola, Jasmine and Sam will take care of these groups. So with this said, we can just have 1 or 2 words on the agenda. We'll have a quick introduction. We'll watch a clip, a really inspiring clip by Hannah Oliver called Waste. We'll have a tiny brainstorming. It's going to be really, really short, just to warm up our brains a little, inspired by that clip. Then we watched another video, which is called From Zero Waste to Less Waste by Laura Arnicān. I hope I pronounced this correctly. And then we'll have a discussion in the breakout rooms. So afterwards, ideally, we'd love to get together again in the main room and present our findings, or just gather the findings all together, because this is all about inspiration. Okay, so let me see, my computer is not reacting to what I'm doing. Okay, here we go. So we've got together today for a quite exciting, interactive event. We haven't done this before in this format, actually. And so we're asking ourselves the question, can we discard the idea of waste, which means, can we actually let go of the idea of waste at all, or to which extent? And in this context, we're also wondering, what actually is zero waste, or what does living a zero waste life actually mean? And we might be on completely different levels. We're all like different human beings, realizing different things if we have new goals, etc. But to some extent, we're all interested in the topics, otherwise we wouldn't be here. And so some of us might have already encountered difficult situations with fellow humans on living different principles, for example, zero waste principles. And this, some might have not. And today it's about really exchanging and inspiring each other. And so we will look at our habits as humans and see how we can challenge ourselves, or what's a healthy level of challenge also. And with this said, we could actually make a start. And we could take a look at the first clip, and afterwards we do a mini brainstorming. The first clip is quite an impressive clip, I found. It also was in a short selection of a UK cultural center. It's called Waste by Hannah Oliver. And with this, I'm handing over to Sam.
Here we go.
What we wear on our skin, what we put in our mouths, how we live in the world. Saying yes to that street sample. Yes to that stack of smashed avocado straight off the plane from Mexico. Yes to that second, third, fourth pint in plastic outside the pub. Yes to that coffee in a takeaway cup because you're a busy lady, man. Yes to that telephone upgrade. Yes to that £2 Primani t-shirt. Yes, yes, yes. But what will be left when everything is waste? What goes around comes around. Would you drink that? If you had to. Would you like that on Instagram? Here is some food for thought. Can we discard the idea of waste?
Thank you so much for sharing. So what we're going to do now, I found this really inspiring, and I guess many of us do. And what I'd like to do is just to warm up a little. I hope you can see my screen. And I'd like to collect two different kind of just an input, just words, whatever comes to mind. On one hand, I'd like to collect some input from you on which kind of waste is easy to discard for you personally. And on the other, I would also like to know which kind of waste is not easy, or let's say hard to discard. And this might be like, people might be completely different. So we're all very different. And if you look at your daily life, like for example, yeah, so what is the thing that you could, like, you wouldn't say, you would always say like, oh, I can't imagine how this would work if we don't have this wrapping, for example. Yeah, so if there isn't a wrapping for chocolate, how would this actually work? The chocolate would look completely different. Or another person might say, well, it doesn't matter. It looks maybe not so like, you know, hygienic, nice, but it still tastes the same. So I'm curious what you think. And this is gonna be like a really brief kind of warm up, but whatever you have, please do just throw it in. You can unmute yourself and throw in what you have.
Shower gel.
Shower gel is hard to discard?
It's easy to discard.
Easy. Okay, cool. I think so too.
For me too, shower gel is easy, but we talked about it. Mica shampoo, for me, it's very hard, for example.
Okay.
I still didn't find the one that fits me.
Yeah, the rinsing you wanted to try next, right? Yeah, rinsing with vinegar, yeah. Okay, cool.
5-ply toilet paper.
Okay, yes, like, how do you spell this? 5-ply?
Well, or anything more than 2 plies, I would say.
Well, or anything more than 2 plies.
We have an echo.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yes, I know what you mean. Yeah, totally.
We have an echo. Yeah, so yes, I know what you mean.
So,
yeah.
I wonder what the echo is. Anyways, so we continue. So what else do we have?
We do have soy milk or other vegan milk coming in a Tetra pack. It's hard to
Easy,
discard.
or it's hard.
It's hard to discard, yeah. 'Cause,
Yeah.
I don't know any alternative apart from making it myself.
Yeah, Tetra pack. Okay,
Plastic vegetable bags in the produce section are easy to discard.
Yeah. I think so too.
For me, hard is everything related to my cat. So cat food,
Yeah.
litter, it's incredible amount of waste that I cannot somehow deal with and find any sustainable alternatives.
What else do we have?
one-way package for food to go.
Is hard, easy?
Easy.
So single-use packaging, right? Or whatever it might be. Packaging for food to go.
Yeah, it's the effect we currently have with the COVID-19 pandemic, that to-go waste is probably again to rise.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah.
On that topic, also the masks that we have to wear now, I would say it's a hard one to discard at present.
Absolutely too, yeah.
Staying with the pandemic area, the self-testing equipment.
Oh yeah. I was thinking the same, like, man, yeah, it's going to be a lot. And yeah, it needs to certainly be sorted out. But we know that in the news, yeah, that the waste has actually increased plastic consumption during the pandemic. Cool. Okay, so maybe one or two more voices. It's already good. We were collecting, warming up.
I think the plastic bottles are a big problem, and for me it's easy to discard them, but I think for many people it's not. Like, I don't want to talk that I'm better than others, of course, but I think it's one of the hugest impacts.
Yes, plastic bottles, and you always have the discussion on, yeah, but it's so much nicer to carry them. Otherwise it's so heavy in these things. Yeah, totally. So I know what you mean. Yeah, you probably got used to this new habit. It's all about habits. Or maybe you've never used plastic bottles anyways. I don't like plastic bottles at all. Like, it gives me a weird feeling. But I know my sister, for example, it's just lighter, right? Depends on how many stairs you need to walk up to your apartment, these things. Cool. Okay, great. So yeah, so this was a little warm up. So I can Yes?
I would say construction waste.
Construction.
Yes, the house, when you destruct it, the waste that is generated.
Totally. Yeah. Construction waste, absolutely, yes. I can see this also. There's construction in my building going on right now. Thank you so much.
And it's 50% of the whole waste quantity in Germany.
It's construction.
Yeah. And I was thinking also about Taschentücher. What's the name in English?
Handkerchiefs.
Handkerchiefs, yes.
Handkerchiefs are
tissues.
Yeah, normally I use tissue, but in Corona times it's not so perhaps the best idea.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking about plastic in for agricultural use, like growing asparagus. It takes huge areas of plastic. Or in Spain, growing tomatoes and all the nice veg in the south of Spain takes a lot of plastic.
Yeah, absolutely. I know what you mean. The fields covered in plastic. Yeah. Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, I would like to add.
Yes,
sorry.
We can't spend too much time on this because we warm up. But yes, one more voice.
I just wanted to add fabrics and clothes which can't be donated or reused in any way anymore.
Yes. So this is hard to discard, but it's easy to discard because you don't buy it. But then, yeah, so can we let go of this completely? So if you say, just to put this in a different way, if you say, well, this is like the clothes I wear, like I really appreciate them because they're so much cheaper. Yes, they're made of plastic, but I can't let go of them because they're cheaper, for example. Then we could say it's hard to discard, it's hard to let go. But if you say, well, I don't want plastic, wear plastic anyways, because it just causes so much trouble in the environment and with my skin, whatever, then you say it's easy to discard. So this one, yeah, you know what I mean? So
yeah, exactly.
So with this, we kind of warmed up a bit. We've found a little collection of things already. So I will just stop sharing this now. Yes. What I also wanted to show today, because this was a video, a clip, which we came across during our research, which we also find quite inspiring and interesting, is a clip by Laura Arnicān. And this from zero waste to less waste also, again, shows a little bit of a different picture of like a zero waste activist. Yeah, so we can always challenge ourselves, but how far do we challenge ourselves? And this is also something we will talk about later. Sam, you've got it ready. Thank you so much.
I wanted to save the planet, but I almost destroyed myself. I have a toddler, but when he was about 3 months old, I was strolling with him around the city and I felt hungry, like all the other new moms. I didn't have time or energy to prepare any snacks with me because I was keeping this tiny human alive, but I also didn't allow myself to go in a store and buy something to eat because nothing fit my lifestyle. I felt physically sick, really tired, very emotional, and I had a breakdown in the middle of the street. I called my husband saying that I'm really, really tired and hungry. I was crying and desperately saying that I can't do this anymore. That was the moment I felt I've pushed myself too far, way too far. You're probably wondering, why did this woman forbid herself to eat, and what the hell is wrong with her lifestyle that she got herself in a situation like this? So let's take a step back. I gotta tell you probably the most important thing. I'm a zero waste activist. Don't worry, this is not going to be a zero waste pep talk, I promise. This is going to be something way more important. It's about how to avoid the dangers of harming ourselves while trying to achieve the goal that's dear to us. My goal was to look after the environment, and I saw zero waste as one way to do it. Zero waste is a set of principles focused on waste prevention so that nothing goes to landfills. It asks people to rethink the life cycle of resources that we use every day so that we look through the 5 R's of zero waste. Refuse, reduce, reuse, recycle, and rot. My zero waste began just right there. 3 years ago when I saw Bea Johnson, the zero waste advocate, on the stage of TED. I was so inspired. It all felt so logical, so easy to do that my husband and I decided that we are going to implement these principles in our home as well. I'm a maximalist, so I did it all. I got rid of all of my plastic bags and replaced them with reusable. I promised myself not to buy anything in plastic ever again. And I even threw out the contents of my bin on the floor and forced myself to recycle it. I fished out dirty plastic bags. I split into pieces my disposable razors, and I even took off the cotton pieces of the cotton swabs. Hearing all this, zero waste can feel like a ton, even if you just want to give it a try. You start with a cool hipster reusable coffee cup and you go to your favorite coffee shop and get 10% discount. Then you set up 5 different recycling containers at your home, but then you end up with a compost bin full of fruit flies. What the heck do I do with fruit flies? And when you feel that your waste game is strong and you're ready to Google on how to make my own toothpaste, you realize that you will be using baking soda for your teeth and your armpits for the rest of your life. Zero waste definitely can feel like you start with just one thing, but you have to carry on doing hundreds of others. And if I can't accomplish all of them, I much rather do nothing. Although even on Wikipedia it says that 0 in zero waste is rather a goal than a hard target, I took it very seriously. I not only thrived for perfection, but I also asked myself to achieve it. As you might see by now, I've always been this all or nothing person with little or no patience at all. I wanted to do everything, I wanted to do it fast, and I wanted to see results right away. During this journey, I've experienced it all. Commitment, pride, activism, success, but also failure, guilt, and shame. At the beginning of my journey, I felt that this is the way to go. I will not make any trash for the rest of my life. Even my deathbed will be made of recycled packaging. I felt a huge honor to be part of such a movement. I, after all, shared all of my experience and my experience on the blog. I inspired thousands of people, and it totally raised my self-esteem and status in the society. But between all of these really good things, pride and success mixed with guilt and shame. I felt ashamed that I sometimes didn't have energy or time to prepare lunch, and I went to the store to buy cheese and bread to make cheese toasts. I felt guilty that I didn't live up to my expectations and the expectations of others. And being an activist in such a movement can come with a huge burden. Sometimes I felt being watched in a store, and even happened yesterday. I feel judgment creeping over my skin when people see me stacking on frozen berries in non-recyclable packaging. It has also affected relationship with people. Somehow the conversations flow to trash. I can meet a friend on the street and she says, "Hi, how are you?" And "Hey, we should catch up." And somewhere in between slides also, "Sorry, I have this plastic bag. My grandma insisted I take it." Once a friend even hid a plastic bag behind his back because he didn't want me to see it. But the funniest situation probably was when a friend came to visit us. She came with snacks in her own packaging, which we thought, wow, well done. Only then she told us that she bought everything in plastic bags, took it all out, put it in reusable glass containers, and hid the plastic bags in her car. It might look funny now, looking back. And it would probably make an amazing story in a dinner party. But I have to say, it hasn't been really funny being in those situations. With such an extreme approach, I have not only risked my mental and physical health. After all, I was starving myself in a city full of food while having cash in my wallet, thus looking like a crazy one to any normal person. But it also affected my relationship with people. Somehow there's this distance between me and the others because they see me as this really harsh zero-waste judge. I use this perfectionist, extremist approach, not just in zero waste. I've been living my life like this all the time. I really had problems committing exercising regularly because my aim was always go for 5 times a week to the gym, 1 time in an hour, and I couldn't commit to that. It also affected relationship with drawing. No matter how much I desired to draw, I didn't allow myself to do that because I'm not Leonardo da Vinci, and it's just better that we don't even start. At some point, I struggled with perfection and zero waste, and I had a huge temptation to quit. But I still cared for the environment. I wanted to see and find ways how to adjust the movement to my lifestyle. And I found a way how to look at the waste in a more humane way. I believe we can put it on a scale. On one end, there's this utopian zero-waste activist who's perfect, who's living off grid, and he provides everything for himself. On the other end, there is this person who's not thinking about trash at all, who's not thinking about plastic bags, who's throwing maybe gum on the street, and sometimes brings his trash to the forest. You probably see where I'm going with this, but yes, there's a huge space in between both of those extremes. You buy a reusable water bottle and don't reach for disposable ones, you move towards one end. You put your garbage in one bag without sorting it, you move towards the other end. I believe that it is completely normal that we move in this scale because we are human beings. For instance, zero waste in summer is so easier to do than in winter, especially if you live way up north as we do in Latvia. On summers, I go to the farmer's market, put my package-free kale in a tote, and walk like a queen. In winters, well, the scene is a bit different. I feel like going to the store in late hours, hiding my plastic-wrapped kale under my veggies. Sometimes it is easy to do zero waste, but sometimes it just isn't. I've met a lot of people from zero waste community, and my observation is that the ones who have this healthy attitude towards waste creation are the ones who keep going, even years after years. I have two friends, and they are true zero waste advocates, and both of them do something that is not zero waste at all. One owns a zero waste store, so that's a big deal, right? And she's a mom of 3. And for her third baby, she's using disposable regular diapers because washing cloth diapers at the moment is not her first priority. The other one manages a zero waste store, and she buys some mascara and lipstick in plastic packaging. Why? Because there are times when this extra black mascara and really nice red lipstick gives her extra boost of confidence. They both do their best in the situations they are. They have found the ways that work for them while not driving themselves crazy. Although the world is not as clean as I thought it would be, and I'm not as perfect as I want it to be, I even asked myself sometimes whether it's worth to keep going with this zero waste thing. But then I took a step back and I noticed something. By practicing less waste strategy, my husband and I have significantly changed the way we use our 3 resources: time, energy, and money. I no longer go for strolls in supermarkets, and I used to do that. I actually shop much less. Therefore, I have more quality time for my friends and family, going for nature walks, or sometimes just being lazy on the couch and watching Netflix. I use less energy fighting with my husband. We used to fight about what we need to buy, when we're going to do that, who's going to do that, and where the heck we're going to get the money. And I'm really glad to say that we no longer do that. And most definitely, we use less money on stuff that we don't need or don't like. Instead, we use the money for the fun stuff. Like last winter, we went to Mexico for 3 months. And I really believe that it is just because we don't waste our money on useless stuff anymore. If I look back, I wouldn't change a lot. I just wish I had been kinder to myself. I would definitely go easier on myself and just get myself fed, even if that meant I have to buy something in plastic packaging. I would take step by step, steady and slowly. Although the perfectionist is not dead in me, I've learned that this healthy attitude towards achieving goals is not working just in zero waste. It has been working in other areas in my life too. By using this approach, I've been exercising regularly. If I did it the old way, I would exercise for 2 weeks extensively and then done nothing for months. If I counted together, that would be about 10 hours in the last 6 months. Now I exercise 15 minutes every day, almost every day, and if I count it together, those are 30 hours in the 6 months. I know that 30 hours in 6 months don't sound like a big bunch. For my perfectionist as well, it doesn't sound so good. But it is still 3 times more than it would be with my previous attempts. Moreover, I've picked up sketching lessons. I'm still not Leonardo da Vinci, don't get me wrong, but I'm okay with that. I draw every week. I'm doing something that I thought I'm really bad at, and I'm making steady progress. And that's a really, really big change in my life. I don't know if environmental issues is something that bothers you, but I suspect that there is something that you care about and want to achieve someday. Maybe you even tried, went all the way in as your perfect perfectionist, didn't succeed, and quit. There is this Latvian old proverb which says, the slower you go, the further you'll get. Like the story about the turtle and the hare, where the slow and steady wins the race. I have to say that only now I start to grasp and understand the true meaning of the saying. I remind myself, the slower I go, the slower... Of course, of course, the slower I go, the slower I get. But this, this is not the saying. The saying is, the slower I go, the further I'll get. I don't know what your dream is about, but I believe that it matters that you don't give up on it. At least not because you also have your inner perfectionist who sometimes kidnaps your reasonable mind and strangles your brave heart. Whatever you desire, my invitation is to give a try to this old Latvian proverb. The slower you go, the further you'll get. Thank you.
Yeah, so thank you for sharing, Sam. Quite inspiring, I find. So what we're gonna do now is we will, because there's a slight change of plan. Unfortunately, I noticed that we cannot go into breakout rooms because we changed our settings on Zoom, and I cannot stop this recording either, because and we cannot go back and so on. So we have to improvise now, and sorry for the change, but well, like we just have to improvise. So what we'll do is we'll look at the 3 questions, still the same questions we would have had in the breakout room. And what I suggest is that what we'll do is everybody will take a moment to actually reflect on these. And then we will like share what we have, and I will like, of course, we can share it in here. I cannot take notes of everyone, but I'd like to give everyone a voice. So we'll do a tour, and we just have to be a little bit disciplined and like stick to 1 or 2 sentences. No, so not tell stories, so everybody has a chance to speak. So if you have a pen of paper, this would be a moment to get it. It's all optional, by the way. It's not like, you know, everybody has to, of course. If you have a pen of paper, or if you'd like to, like, also you can take notes, of course, as I said, yeah, wherever you want to take them, on your phone or computer or so. And sorry to the team. I know we were preparing the breakout rooms. It's just a little annoying. It's learning, but we'll do it this way. So what I suggest, what we'll do is, it's now 7:33. Now, I leave this on the screen and I go silent, and we'll take 5 minutes, and it's just like bullets or ideas. You take notes at your end, and then we'll bring them all together and we'll share them in a group. I hope this works with everyone. Okay, so now is the moment. I will go silent, and I will be back in a minute, in 5 minutes. So 7:38. Okay, see you in a bit. Okay. So I hope, I know some people might still be thinking, I know it's the improvising part is of course like a little challenging, but we'll get there. So what I was just thinking, maybe it is nice to actually go ahead and take some notes, because it's always nice to see things. So what I do now is just have a new, I'd like to start a new whiteboard. Does it let me? Huh, okay. I just, yeah, let's do this. So can you see my screen? Yeah, cool. So it's nice to see things. So let's just do it this way. Let's go question by question and all like share. Like if you want to keep it relatively brief, this way you can like give the chance to someone else also to say something, and that would be great. And what we'll start with is the question of what brought you to the topic of zero waste. I'm curious. You can just throw in your thoughts or 1 or 2 sentences.
I can get us started. This is a little bit mundane, but I think the thing that got me started on zero waste was my first really great reusable water bottle.
Okay, nice.
Stainless steel, vacuum sealed. I was very sad when I lost it, but I got one that was very similar, and I hope that whoever found it is using it today.
I totally understand that. When I'm at a festival and I drink out of this amazing bottle, the water just tastes so much better. I understand. Yeah, I know it seems a bit simple, but what else do we have? Anyone else?
I came across Bea Johnson, but I cannot remember how and when.
Do you spell her like this?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Oh, good to know. Nice. I will look that up because I actually haven't. Was it the same lady as in the video?
Yeah, I think she's basically the one who started the whole movement.
Started zero waste. See, like I'm still a beginner. Yeah. Thanks for the inspiration.
Maike, könnte ich was auf Deutsch sagen? Du übersetzt es dann?
Ja.
Ja, okay. Ich glaube, es fällt mir leichter. Also ich bin auf dem Umweg dahin gekommen, weil mein Vater baut aus allem noch etwas. Also ich hatte das Gefühl, es gab keinen Müll. Und darüber, weil ich gemerkt habe, dass andere Menschen das ganz anders betrachteten, bin ich aufmerksam geworden, was es eigentlich dann für andere an Müll gibt. Und so hat sich das dann entwickelt. Also sehr langsam, ständig.
Okay. So Carla's dad actually is someone who does remake things always. So I would say that's your inspiration came from your family then, right?
Right,
ja. Da kann ich mich anschließen. Also schreib erst mal ruhig.
Yeah, good role model. Yeah. Nice.
Ich kann mich da anschließen. Ich komme aus einer Familie, wir hatten früher so einen kleinen Laden und ich kann mich noch daran erinnern, als Plastiktüten, diese Einkaufstüten eingeführt wurden. Und meine ganze Familie war außer Rand und Band, weil wir das alle so schlimm fanden. Und eigentlich kenne ich aus meiner Familie gar keinen anderen Lebensstil als Zero Waste. Also es hat sich so fortgesetzt. Ich habe mich zum Glück da nicht abgegrenzt und habe mir für Kacke gehauen.
Yeah. So another person who like really, I'm just translating because we have a few English.
Yes, yeah.
Another person who experienced who was I just guess you also expressed that you feel grateful for having been educated this way. So the family actually gave these values to you, that there is no you shouldn't use plastic bags, etc. That's good.
I think it's the most natural lifestyle.
Yeah. Thank you. Anyone else?
I agree with Bettina. Oh, sorry.
Sorry. I think in my case it was my love for For fashion, because it's an industry which destroys the environment so much, but in the same time, I don't want to lose my passion for it. So I started to try to find ways to do it responsibly, for example, buying vintage or secondhand clothes.
Yes. So it was a realization of waste generated by the fashion industry. Okay, we can have one more voice and then we have to move on.
I mean, that's Sybil. Can I speak? Okay. Well, I'm probably the oldest of all of you. I'm 75 years old.
Yes.
And I remember times when there was no plastic in the world. When I was born, the first maybe 20 years, we of course drank water from the tap, which I'm doing still today. Yeah. And our bags were basically baskets or paper bags, and just we lived without plastic. Yeah. And then I was living most of my life in Latin America and Africa, and I realized that how suddenly the plastic appeared. People thought they can't drink water from the tap anymore and bought these plastic bottles. And people spent a lot of money on it, but there was no waste disposal system available. So it's just polluting the environment shockingly. So it's the shock from this avalanche from plastic appearing in beautiful nature, everywhere on the roadside, the blue plastic bags all hanging.
Sorry, I have to cut you off because we only have 1 or 2 sentences per person, but I know what you mean. Shock of avalanche, and you actually experienced it in a different way beforehand. So why does it suddenly change? Yes, and zero waste. How do I put it? Like, it's actually the as a base of actually it's hard to formulate.
Life without plastic is only 50 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. So shock of avalanche of plastic in the 60s, right?
50s.
In the 50s it was. And then cool, thank you for sharing. Hannah, you were also saying you urgently wanted to say something, right? Someone was raising their hand. No?
Yeah,
okay.
Just thank you. Just in general, the trash at the beaches was for me like a negative motivation because I was very, very shocked.
Yeah, it is absolutely shocking. Thank you so much, everyone, for sharing your feelings and experiences. So now we can move to question number 2, which is, do you actually agree with what Laura said in the video, that zero waste is rather a process than a goal?
May I say something? Okay.
I would say that it doesn't need to be like splitted to like say it's a process or a goal. I think it can be the process to the goal. And I like her idea a lot because I think we are all humans are different. So everyone needs like a different way to manage the problem for himself. And I felt a lot with her, and I thought, okay, maybe this idea and this scale in my mind can help me in situations when I think, okay, now, well, if I use this or not, it won't solve the problem. But in the end, I always can think about, okay, maybe it's not changing the world if I use this or not. But I feel that in my mind, I'm going more towards the place, towards the goal that I want that the world is in one day than if I do it not. So it's the better direction. And so it's the process to the goal in my mind.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So can be both. That's a really good, I think, way of seeing things also. And then you, sorry, I can't see your name, but someone else was saying would like to say something.
Sybil, I think.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. I think we shouldn't start from us individuals. This is a problem of society. And this is heavily promoted by the oil industry. This whole plastic comes from oil. So I think we need to get government to tax plastic very heavily, to tax it out of the market and to regulate that the use of plastic is minimized or single-use plastic is banned. This
is absolutely agreeing. And this is a new, sorry to interrupt you. We looked at this in our last event, actually, how you can actually have an impact on regulations. And that's what we also do in this, because in this, and sorry to cut you short, but in this event, we're looking at the consumer level, and of course, regulations come first. And it's as you're saying, oil and plastic industry that are lobbying heavily, because oil is fossil fuels are going down, and they're lobbying even more, and there needs to be laws, no doubt. Now we need to kind of stay close to the questions because time is limited, unfortunately, but we totally agree with this, and we're actually working on this hard also to influence politics. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, great. This is a good idea of raising hands. Maybe Jasmine, you want to take care of the raised hands, and you see them maybe. I've got a raised hand here because I can't see the name somehow.
Yeah, Christian?
Yeah. Yes, indeed. Allow me to strongly support the idea that it's a process and a goal, but in a manner that we need first to have a goal to adjust the process. And maybe a short word on the way how I got to the topic of zero waste. I got a new role in my professional life, and since about 14 months, I'm the managing director of the municipal office for waste disposal, street service, and fleet management in Regensburg. So in German, it sounds a little bit easier, but that's the English translation. And since about 1 year, I'm dealing with the question how a zero waste strategy can be formulated for the city of Regensburg. And there is a great example in Germany of the city of Kiel, who is actually the first city in Germany who is striving for achieving the goal, having 50 kilogram per inhabitant per year as a benchmark or as a target number. And having this in mind, the task to formulate a strategy to get there is actually the process.
Yeah.
And therefore, it's strongly connected. Without a goal, there is no meaningful process, and without a process, we won't get to any goal. Mm-hmm. And in this understanding, to shortly answer this question, I strongly agree the idea that it's both. It needs just to be organized, it needs to be meaningful, it needs to be written down in a structured manner. Mm-hmm. And that's what we currently are going to try to do in Regensburg.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for sharing. And, it feels really bad when I cut topics off, and also with Sibyl before, because we always really talk about the impact level a lot. And just due to limited time today, we can't really look at it in more depth, but I'm sure we'll have another event on this where we can discuss it more, because it's a huge topic, circular economy being announced and used as a word so much. And then if you look at reality, it's not possible to actually realize circular economy. And looking at zero waste, as you're saying, there's models out there. How can they actually be really realized, and how can they be multiplied, etc.? It's a huge topic. And I can see there's a lot of interest on this. So we'll get back to that later. And I think we kind of agree on this question already, which is good. So we can see process and goal is both needed. And in the case of the video, it was okay, you also want to look at your personal health. I think that's how I understood, because when you want something really strongly, you can also go beyond your health or your limits sometimes. If you look at also younger generations, I would say maybe even more, because you look at the state of the world and you feel wow, how can I stop this? Yeah. And so it's also about what she said, Laura, how I understood is that, yeah, it's really important that you take it step by step. You watch yourself, and you rather want to be not harming yourself to not destroy the process. Yeah, so you want to bear the goal in mind, but not get to a point where you feel you harm yourself, because then you remember the topic is gonna be like negative. So we don't want to go there. So anyways, sorry, I stopped talking now. We get to question 3, which is, have you encountered any relationships or challenges with values in life with your family, or friends, or anyone, like any discussions? This can be broader than the zero waste. It doesn't have to be zero waste, but we can also like broaden it a little. But I'm curious to hear if you have come across any kind of moments where you have discussions, as Laura was describing in the video. And if yes, how did you deal with this? And yeah, so Jasmine, you can, if you like, you can do the moderation there.
Carla, would you like to say?
Yeah, okay, I will try in English. I had this situation with my mother in a Fischbrötchen shop, so where we wanted to buy a little thing with a fish on it, and I told the guy not to give me it in aluminium, packaging. And in the same moment, my mother was attacking me if I want to do the same. Also, ob ich jetzt von ihr erwarte, dass sie dasselbe tut. And I was very surprised because I wasn't even thinking about it. But for her, it was like an attack. I had the feeling, and I told her that it was just my decision and it's her part to decide what she wants to do, but that I don't want to have aluminium touched to my food because it's not good. And finally, she understood after a while.
Okay, that's good to hear. Yeah, interesting, right? So anyone else, any stories? I mean, good to hear that she understood. Sounds like there was a solution for the moment. Yeah.
I also had this situation. I tried to live 1 year zero waste. And it was honestly one of the toughest years of my life. And I would get angry at the most silly things, which would obviously cause tension between friends, like going for coffee, all the energy I spent in trying to not have waste. And then they'd be like, oh yeah, but it's just a coffee cup. And it made me so angry. Like just a coffee cup. It made me, when you put in so much energy, you get very frustrated at the small things other people do, which of course creates tension. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so sounds good. And there's a hand up, I think.
It's Gabriella. You mentioned that it's okay.
Can I?
Yeah, please, Gabriella.
So I usually encounter this kind of situations in my office, and I can see that some people are avoiding me because they were kind of lazy and they took paper cup, even though the mug is quite close to take, and they just didn't want to talk to me. Or sometimes on some collective events, they start to explain themselves because they eat meat in front of me. It's not really my business why they have to brought up this topic. It's a social event.
Okay. Does anyone have a similar situation and has a solution how to deal with it? Because we saw in the video Laura was also, she didn't really get into detail, but I would be curious if anyone has anything that worked for him or her in here.
I would say that it's kind of important to find a compromise, like trying to make the people understand, and then sometimes the solution comes.
Mm-hmm. And finding compromise would be something like just be more friendly or relaxed or have that kind of vibe with colleagues, right? Or
yeah, one thing I was going to echo a similar story to Gabriella in vegetarianism and having periods where I felt angry towards family members like Jasmine was speaking about. And I think the thing that helped me really move forward was realizing that things like vegetarianism and zero waste, it's not like a zero-sum thing where either you're doing it and you're on the team, or you're not doing it and you're totally against. It's more of a spectrum. And when I started to think about it as, okay, if this person's eating meat 7 days a week, or if they're taking a plastic coffee cup 7 days a week, if I can convince them to do it 6 days, then that's, you know, moving towards the right direction. So kind of thinking of things as more of a scale and less of a black and white was something that was really helpful to me in kind of navigating those things.
Yeah, thank you for sharing, Sam. Yeah, I don't know if this was really helpful for Gabriela, because it also really depends on the industry and the environment you work in. Like if it's a really conservative, hardcore kind of conservative environment, then of course it gets even harder to, because if people start look like, you know, if people laugh at you before what you do or so. But maybe the first step is to, and that's my experience also, as you said, Sam, like kind of embodying a bit more, seeing it more as a spectrum, and kind of, I think as soon as, I believe in the idea that as soon as you, you know, you see what you want to see, people see you by how you act with them, and body language, etc., always counts so much. So as soon as I am more relaxed with them, even though I can see them like really not living my values at all, they might become curious and like, okay, so, you know, they might be more relaxed as well. Just throwing this in, probably we can't go into detail so much. So time is flying, and I know I'm so aware that is like, we could talk about this for hours, but I can, like, we can have maybe we can have like a person who hasn't said anything in the past, and I mean, just an option. Now would be the moment if you want to share. No? Okay, so then we can have Carla. Carla, you have the last voice here.
Oh, welche Verantwortung.
In English.
Okay. English, I try. In my case, I know also this kind of situation, and I realized the best way is I just living my way, and people are observing and they're asking why I'm doing it. And then I explain to them, and I tell them also, I have often the discussion about flying, and I tell them I couldn't es nicht anders mehr von mir verantworten. How it would be.
You could, yeah, you cannot justify it in front of, like, by yourself, with yourself.
Yeah, to do it in another way. And so I'm speaking only about me, and I realize people are thinking about it. They ask me later why I'm doing, and so there's a changement of behavior also. I have seen.
Okay, so I don't know how to summarize it. So basically, you just kind of work with your own kind of values and just looking at yourself, basically, right? If I hear it right. So you wouldn't have the expectation towards the other person, something like that.
I have the expectation, but I wouldn't tell them.
Okay.
Like modeling good behavior.
Okay, so let's just call it, yeah, I mean, like modeling good, yeah, so it's like, it's really, it's so, yeah, it's like, if you do it in a decent way, people are receptive to it. I can see, like, we're running a bit over time, but if I see it right, people are still interested in extending this a bit. Okay, so we're extending the session today because we still have a few things, by 10 minutes. Okay, so there was a hand up.
Yeah, Martina, go ahead.
Sorry, I don't know how to do it differently,
No,
but
no
raising my hand. I just noticed that, I think maybe that's also what Carla said, that people become very defensive in general when you start talking about these subjects, even though you're maybe just talking about your own experience. So there is a bit of guilt, I guess, in everyone. And a shampoo example, you're using a shampoo bar and everybody thinks it's funny and stupid, but as soon as it becomes mainstream, which is happening now with a lot of things, you can find the bamboo toothbrush, the shampoo bars and whatnot in every DM and here, what is it?
Budni.
drugstore, sorry, in every drugstore, then all of a sudden it's all cool and everybody's using it, even the same people in the family that have been so defensive and found it so weird and funny what you're doing. And I think, okay, if this is all it takes, then yeah, going back to, we have to work on pushing this to have these things, become mainstream. And then I think they will be accepted. I think it's the same, maybe example with the vaccines. Everybody's rejecting it, but as soon as it will become more popular, then everybody will want it. So it's, I guess it's just a human reaction.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, I mean, it really is, and this is the mindset. Really, it's all about the mindset. As soon as something becomes, humans are like sheep, right? So as soon as there's a wave and there's something popular and cool, like making it cool. That's the thing. Like overcoming the habit and making it cool, being proud of it. That's where we want to get. Yeah, but of course, there's a way to go for sure. Yeah. Okay, who else would like to say something? Anyone?
I just want to say something, but I don't have a sign to
do it with... Gerda. Yeah, we're ready for you.
Okay, so it's a little bit difficult to avoid waste at the moment, because normally when I go to a coffee shop or something else, I get it's possible to refill something, for example, a recap, or when I go shopping, I can bring my own glass or box or something else. At the moment, it's forbidden. It's not possible to give it to the man or to the woman to refill this box or glass or something else. And I think
I know what you mean. It's
at the moment it's really difficult, and but there are some people, they don't care about it.
Yeah,
I'm very lucky about this. Yes.
So
I think it will be
more like a general comment, right? Yeah.
A step back. The situation will be a step back.
Yeah, I know. I have also been there. Yeah. I've experienced that, and I was also annoyed by this, taking my own cup, and then absolutely. And I mean, I think how can we can certainly just say, okay, it's going to be a temporary thing. We very much hope that's not going to last for too long, of course. And really we're just going, like, keeping on doing what we're doing, and being like friendly with ourselves. I think that's what, like, also now the brainstorming showed. I think I mean, thank you so much everyone for your input here.
I just want to say one thing. I discovered masks, FFP2, in DM. They are from cotton, and they are compostable.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
That's good news. See, there's like things also, like things will develop. Yeah, thank you for sharing.
So we really have to share about things which are possible to do, and where you have another chance to to avoid waste, for example.
Yeah, things will get better. We have to be patient, but at the same time, we also really want to push things forward. So we just need to do it in a cool, mainstreamy, nice, easy way, not scaring off anyone. So with this said, thank you so much for your input. We're going to close our session now. What we could do at the end is just a few minutes. I know we're nearly there. We have 3 minutes now. We'd like to just share with you a few things. And of course, you can also share something in the chat. I will now stop sharing the screen. Now, we would like to just share a few tips, also zero waste tips. And so, for example, we have, I mean, the first thing, some of you, most of you probably have already done this, and we've got a petition. So if you haven't signed it yet, please do. Our current topic is microplastics and cosmetics. And of course, if you avoid microplastics, you also avoid this kind of waste. It's primary microplastics that are added to products intentionally. So we could put this in the chat, the petition link. Thank you so much, Jasmine. And then also, we also advertise our partners petition, which is Beat the Microbeat on the EU level. So if you haven't signed that, because there's this lawmaking process right now happening on the EU level, it's also very relevant. Next, if you're interested in examining products, any cosmetics products or similar, with apps or finding a way of a zero waste product choice there, you could look at the video of our one event we had. We were actually scanning products together a few months ago, also in the Let's Stay Toxic series. So you could check that video. That's that one. Exactly. And next we have how to make your own cosmetics. If you're interested with your own cosmetics, if you're interested in making your own cosmetics, whatever it might be, we have a few examples there. We actually did this also in a video, and there you also have a link to how to make your own cosmetics with the ingredients. It's like for those kinds of cosmetics, it's really easy and straightforward and fun. Also, we have zero waste ideas you can download from an event. Thank you so much, Jasmine, for putting it. The PDF, there's ideas that we collected in another zero waste event just as an inspiration. And that's already quite a lot of material, but we love spreading it. So of course, feel free to download it. Great. And then with this said, also we have something coming up, a project, which goes with our current campaign. And I'm handing over to Ola to maybe just say something, if you want to say something, Ola.
Yes, if you are up for participating in our next social media action, then feel free to put your email address in the chat, and I will send you some details about it. Of course, you don't need to participate if you decide not to after I send you the details, but it's going to be very easy. And it's also about spreading awareness and it's more about the voices we heard today, also about pressuring people that are higher. So it's not so much about the personal impact. And I think it could be interesting for some of you.
Yes, thank you, Ola. It's going to be right what you just mentioned earlier, Sibylle, I think it was, and for example, and one or two people, and Christian, you were talking about how to actually make change on the systemic level, and this is what we're actually doing right now. It's all happening in the background, and with this action you can participate. So we're working on the targeting, etc., and it's going to be we make it as effective as possible. And also nice, thank you for sharing your ideas here, Carla. Yes, saving energy by watching less Netflix. Yes, that is certainly a challenge. Christian, you were saying check out a zero waste group on Sing. Feel free to also share the link, Christian, if you like, all optional. And yes, so what else do we have? We have quite a few more tips. Handbook on explaining environmental psychology. Carla was sharing something, a link up there. And so there's more links. So it's a bunch of links here. And I hope this is inspiring. So with this said, we're a little over time. We had some technical difficulties, but I still hope it was very inspiring. It was really good to have everyone on board. I wish you a really nice evening and thank you for joining. And see you next time.
Thank you, everyone.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye and thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining.